Welcome to the SportsBros Podcast, featuring the Almighty B-Live, the Money Man, Scotty D, and your host, the head of creative, Eddy Kool. And without any further ado, here they are, the SportsBros.
Hey, what's going on, world? This be your boy, Eddy Kool, a.k.a. the HOC. And guess what? This is episode number 61 of your favorite sports podcast, the Sports Bros Podcast. 61 episodes in the books. The number 61 is very sentimental to me because that's my high school football number 61. I wanted number 93, but they said, hey, we got number 61. I was like, yeah, I'll take it. I'm good at that. I always want to be a tight end, but never had those hands. Never could run those routes, but that's neither here nor there. But what's here and there and everywhere are the two greatest co-hosts that a guy could ever ask for. The Almighty B-Live.
What's happening? What's going on in the world today? That's so much more of a message that's going on, but in the midst of all that, we're here just to talk about sports.
Yep.
So you know what? I'll leave it this go round. I'm actually not going to talk trash about that other guy that's part of this podcast. I'll save it for later because at some point in time we're going to disagree about something. But I'm excited to be back after a week hiatus. We took a week off, but we got to get back to the people. We got to give the people what they want. Yes, sir.
Yep, gotta give them what they want. And speaking of the other guy, live from Pennsylvania, the Money Man, Scotty D.
What's up, bros? It is good to talk to you guys again after taking a week off last week. Good to be with you. I do have to tell you, when we started doing this podcast, we said we were going to stay away from all the crap going on in the outside world, but there was a lot been going on lately. And I wanted to just say right off the top, we're not going to get into it too deeply here because we are going to talk some sports. But, I think I'm speaking for both of you guys when I say we were really saddened about this whole situation with George Floyd because he was a man loved by his family. That, first and foremost, a family lost someone in a horrific manner, a manner that could have been avoided. And there's a lot of racial tension going on. And our show, I'm actually the minority here. Out of the three of us, I'm the white dude on the panel here. And I just wish the whole world could experience like the friendship and harmony that we have together, because I don't just think of you guys as my black friends. You guys are legitimately my friends. You're my bros. And, racism actually can go both ways. And I never have to pretend or do anything to fit in with you guys. I'm just myself, and that's the way it should be. And I'm just proud to be part of this little deal with you guys because, not the world in black and white is a very confusing place right now. But for us, we got our brotherhood here and our friendship. And I really appreciate that from you guys.
Oh, man. Oh, who's cutting onions? Who's cutting onions? No, but hey, Scotty D, man, definitely. I mean, this is a brotherhood, man, and we had to keep the status quo. We couldn't just keep it all black, So we had to add a little bit of flavor. I mean,
a little cream.
So you do season your food a little bit. All right, cool.
Oh, man. Anyway, this is episode 61 of the Sports Bros Podcast. The world is crazy right now, on fire, literally. All I'm going to say right now is everybody just please take care of yourself and please take care of each other. If you're out there protesting, just be smart, be careful, do the right thing. There's a lot of knuckleheads out there. Don't be a knucklehead, all right? Roger Goodell is enough, so don't be a knucklehead.
Knucklehead. So, is anything going on in the world of sports, Eddy Kool? Lead me on here, buddy. Lead me.
Well, I tell you what, man. Let's go ahead and get this here rundown. And from the looks of it, everybody's trying to be return out the Mac for 2020, and one league is just trying to go ahead and get started. This past week, a lot of news broke as far as the NHL, its return, the NBA return, and also just trying to kickstart this whole Major League Baseball season. All right, listeners, bear with me. It's a lot going on, but I'm going to do my best to give you the information that you need about the upcoming seasons, or abbreviated seasons, or asterisk seasons, if you will. All right, the National Hockey League, they said, you know what? The rest of the regular season, let's go ahead and get it the hell up out of here. So they have decided that teams and the players' unions have agreed to a framework. It's still, got some kinks in it, to a 24-team playoff based on the standings as of March 12th, which would serve as the season's restart. So, if you're a first-place team, then guess what? You're in the playoffs. They have a slew of play-in games, and it is very interesting. They have all kinds of matchups. I think the first-place teams will play in a round-robin tournament. Yes, if I'm not mistaken, it'll be in a round-robin tournament. Trust me, it is confusing as hell, but guess what? We're all going to figure out. I'm just happy to have some form of live sports coming back. Yeah, it's going to be a 24-team return-to-play format, and it's going to involve just about everybody from the doggone NHL. It's too much to name here. We ain't got time for that, so we'll just move right along. So there's hockey. They're trying to come back too, and with the playoffs. Then we have the NBA, and we have an actual start date, if I'm not mistaken. The target date, in air parentheses, air quotes, will be July the 31st. And there's many options that they're trying to weigh as well too. From last reports I see, correct me if I'm wrong, fellas, there'll be the hub city will be Orlando, where they'll be playing, their games and stuff. And the owners have all kind of options. Some want to resume the regular season with all 30 teams, followed by a play-in tournament. And that got 8 votes because all the GMs and the owners, they had votes, so they got 8 votes. Or do the NHL and go straight to the playoffs with either a play-in tournament or a World Cup style group stage kind of game. That got 5 votes. Or resume the regular season with all 30 teams and then go straight to the playoffs, and that got 1 vote. Moving along to Major League Baseball. The season will start in July, and in case you were on the rock and missed it, it's going to be 82 regional scheduled games with a universal designated hitter, a 30-man active roster, and a 20-player taxi squad, and 14 teams in the postseason with games played in home cities in October. And that came from CBS Sports. And also, there will be no all-star game. But the players' union and the owners are butting heads about money. And from what I read, the top players will have to take a pay cut, which means the top 10, some of your money going to get cut out. As always, everything sounds interesting, fellas. Nothing is finalized yet. What do we think about the potential return of all 3 sports leagues, the Major Leagues, Major League Baseball, the NBA, and the NHL?
Well, right now, for me, it looks like that the NHL is the closest to returning to form, because they basically already announced that the regular season's over with. Congratulations to the Boston Bruins for winning the President's Trophy, having the best regular season record. So they've already announced these things. So the NHL I think is the furthest ahead. Mm-hmm. Then I would say basketball, NBA is closer. They've announced a start date. They're utilizing the Worldwide Sports facility in Orlando.
That's correct.
For their games. And they're, like I said, they're still in talks with what their plans are. So those aren't really finalized. Baseball is way off. When you announced the 82 game schedule, that was what the owners proposed.
Okay.
And the players said nope, not even close. Usually when you're in negotiations and you're trying to figure things out, usually take somebody's proposal and you just tweak it a little bit, move this and the little dot there, cross a T there. No, the players said no. They want no part of it. The players union right now, they're saying we're not taking another pay cut. They want their prorated contracts, basically saying if we're playing 82 games as opposed to 162, then we're going to get half of our contract. So they want full prorated pay, which I think is fair. And also they put a proposal together for 100-game season.
Mm-hmm.
So the players are trying to recoup some of the money back by playing more games. And like they said, I think it was what was my dude's name? The Washington pitcher,
Max Scherzer.
Yeah, he came flat out and said, "We're not taking another pay cut."
Straight up.
He said, "We're not having it. We're not taking another pay cut," and that's where the players stand right now. So baseball is looking real suspect right now. So, but I mean, hopefully they can come together and just put something together because we miss our sports, all of it.
Yeah,
we please help.
Well,
we need a distraction like now.
Yeah, we need something. We're losing our minds here. But whenever I mentioned this baseball proposal, I think it was 3 weeks ago, and 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, and one of my pepper points, I said, get prepared of a summer worth of arguing because these guys are going to be butting heads, and it doesn't even sound like they've really started the process of making any kind of agreements. This is all baseball has been the toughest of all sports to get any kind of labor relief through the years. There's always been a battle. They canceled the World Series for crying out loud in 1994. I mean, it's just always going to be that way with baseball. And the pay cut proposal that they were given was almost like a sliding scale. Like the top end guys were going to get more of their salary slashed than the bottom end guys percentage wise. And I think I saw somewhere where Mike Trout stands to make $33 million this year, but under this proposal, he would make $19 million. And this is going to look bad for baseball once again, because these guys, they're going to show up and come out looking like super, super greedy because they're going to be arguing over, the public already hates when millionaires argue over money, and then you have to go to the ballpark and pay $10 for a hot dog. I mean, this is gonna be bad for baseball once again if they don't get this figured out and get on the field soon. And for them, the clock is ticking. I heard Mark Cuban say the other day that realistically the NBA could have until really like mid to late August before they would start their season. I mean, that he wasn't suggesting that's what they wanted to do, but they could conceivably, do a training camp and play a few games and then a couple months starting in August, just to get done in time so they could have 2 months off and then still start next year's season at a reasonable time, targeting Christmas pretty much. But baseball, they don't have that luxury. They need to get on the field if they're going to have any kind of semblance of a season, because as of right now, it's June. They already have missed 2 months of the season and haven't even gotten into camp yet. These other teams, the other leagues, the NHL and NBA, they can have an abbreviated 2-week playoff, or like the NHL is doing this hub city kind of thing, and some of what Eddie was describing before. But baseball, man, they got to get their act together and quit fighting over money, and come to an understanding that this is a circumstance beyond all control. They'll probably get this thing figured out just in time for the 2021 season to start, and then this won't even matter. But these guys, they're gonna end up looking bad in the public eye more than any other. But we need them, man. We need sports. I mean, on a daily basis, I'm sitting around here thinking, I really wish I could watch a baseball game right now. It's summertime. That's what I do in the summer. But
there's only so many times I can watch Game 7 of the 2016 World
yeah,
Series.
Right. I mean,
it's only so many times.
I want to watch something live. I mean, I enjoy watching some of these, revisiting some of these old series and all the sports. But I mean, come on, man. I'm missing this stuff. And I understand that if we're going to miss out because of this virus, if this thing respikes, and even if we have to miss the start of our football seasons, I get it. But if you're having a possibility of solving these problems and it's money is the holdup, that's going to look really, really bad, and you're going to lose fans.
Oh, absolutely. And we're all carefully watching you, baseball. Get it together. Hashtag do better.
Get it right.
You're right, Scotty D. Get it right. Get it together. It's just one of those things where it's like, the world is crazy right now. The world's on fire, literally, as I said. Think about it. Kobe passed away in January. Australia was on fire. We're currently in the middle of Rona Mania 2020, and then, the event that happened in Minnesota. We need something to bring us together. We need togetherness. We really need something to bring us together. I mean, the NFL draft, it was virtual, but we were excited about that. And so now we're just trying to figure out, like, what's the next move? Which sport is going to make that move to bring everybody back and be smart about it? And I'm still trying to figure out, what the hell is going to go on with college football, let alone everything else, because, here it is. It's May, and, the spring games probably wrapped up like possibly if they were going on now, they would probably be done by now. So we just have to try to figure out, hey, what's the next move? What's going on? And yeah, man, baseball, man, when it comes to labor, man, and labor disputes, man, it's ugly. It's ugly. They've almost, at every 3 or 4 years that strike. I mean, for God's sakes, listen, there's no minor league baseball season at all this year. It's a wrap. So, I mean, you got to think about it. Like, those guys, their paychecks will stop. There won't be no call-ups. There won't be a lot going on. It's crazy, fellas. It's crazy because, like you said, Scotty D, y'all bickering over money. Never mind, what's going on, with people being in the stands and stuff. Y'all bickering over money. I mean, hell, do what they did in Korea. They got nobody in the stands. They're still playing baseball. It's being televised. Roman skeleton crew. If they figured it out in Korea, how come they can't figure it out over here? I mean, get it together. Do better, like you guys said. I don't want to, you guys are arguing about money, but I got to pay $35 for a foam finger, a hot dog, and a beer.
Yeah, that's the biggest of facts.
Yeah, it's I don't get it, man. I don't get it. And the NBA and the NHL has, like you said, Be Live. They've put, they've got the train on the track, and there's some motion going behind it. In the NBA, it's just everybody's got to agree, like, hey, what are we gonna do?
Sports, man. We need sports in a big way. They've got to get this figured out.
Yeah, they got to get this figured out, man. Because there's no more, Last Dance. We can't watch that no more.
This is a little bit off topic, but I even got to wonder if right now the NBA playoffs would be going on. I mean, even I'm not sure how far into it would be as far as being close to the finals, but I mean, these people that are out there protesting have been sitting around the house pent up for a long time. If LeBron was playing in the playoffs right now, that probably would have lightened up a little bit out there on the streets. People be home watching their favorite teams play.
Put the Molotov cocktail down, LeBron and them.
That's what
TV.
I mean. I mean, that could have been a little bit of a healing agent watching our favorite teams play in the NBA playoffs right now. I don't think anybody was going to skip a protest to go watch a baseball game. But if the NBA playoffs are on, we might be saying, this might be a little bit easier to handle these mobs at this point. I don't know. Just kind of a side thought there, but it just you get my point though, is that sports is a healing agent, and it helps in bad times, and we're missing that badly.
Yeah. And it's one of those things. Also, sports has done us very well when it comes to even the protests. Like you've seen your professionals in solidarity, protesting different issues. Unfortunately, for one guy, it didn't go too well for him, which I'm just putting that out there. But at the end of the day, like that was an outlet for us. That we don't have that outlet, and even your professional players, they're speaking out and everything. But I think it would sort of ease us a little bit. There would still be a lot of anger abound, but we'd be able to express it in a better way. And I agree with you, Scotty D. Like, yeah, we need sports in the worst way. And that's why us here at the Sports Bros podcast, we're pressing on each and every week to give you some type of sport.
Yes, sir.
Something.
Yes, sir.
The show must go on. I just get it together, man. Things have to happen, man. You know, there's only so many times I can like watch the major networks and who's better, who's this, who's that. All right, we running out of stuff to talk about. We running out of stuff to talk about. I mean, you can look. I mean, like what? Think about it. We have as of right now, the NFL is slated to start on time. You know, it's slated to start on time because I think the only thing now that's not happening are the OTAs. Yeah, the OTAs that happen around, you know, between now and like the first few weeks of June, you know, training and conditioning, stuff like that. But you got videos of, you know, Lamar Jackson and Hollywood Brown and a couple other guys, you know, small groups gathering together and just working on chemistry and working on that timing. I think Baker Mayfield invited a bunch of guys out. They had workout segments and everything, but players are working out. If you haven't seen like the videos of these guys are working out, like they're still, they're playing with the kids. They stay in limber, but they're working out. They're not just taking this time just sitting on their butts and doing nothing, because they're like, look, when it's time to go, it's time to go. And we'll see who stayed in shape and who been eating up every damn thing in the house, like me. I've put on some pounds, but that's neither here nor there. So we just hope these leagues get something together soon, because as a world right now, we are in dire need of sports. I think the MLS, they figured out something too, to where they're going to have like a big old round robin World Cup style tournament. So it's good to see these leagues put, at least like, all right, we got to figure something out. We have to figure something out.
It at least seems like there's some hope, though, for the NBA and NHL. Looks like there's at least going to be some progress made. And I think one of the things the NBA has to figure out is if they're going to be able to get their families down there with them in Orlando. Because it seems like Orlando is going to be their landing spot. That's going to be their hub. And they're going to be playing at Disney World. So if they can figure out the testing and getting their families down there safely, I think that's going to be a go. And I do see some light at the end of the tunnel for NHL and NBA, but we'll see what happens with baseball.
I think, aren't they about to open up Disney World soon?
Yes, I did.
Yeah, they're going to do like a 50% capacity thing or something, I think. I'm not sure, but yeah, there is some plans to reopen that over the summer.
Yeah, they're going to open up, and that, I mean, and that's a good thing to see that open. I mean, if Disney World opens up, then then the NBA, like, for sure they got a place to play. Because I think me and my girlfriend was talking, and she was like, what's going on with all this Disney on ESPN? I'm like, honey, ESPN owns Disney, so yeah, that's how all this works out together. So it's just TV money, and more money. Baseball, quit being so damn greedy. Got me paying $40 for a hot dog and a T-shirt. I'm gonna wear 5 times. Mike Trout, what, $400 million? Manny Machado, $400 million. Bryce Harper, $392 million. Y'all ain't hurting.
Yeah.
This little cut ain't gonna hurt y'all. Not one bit. It'll be a literal drop in the freaking bucket. That's all. It'll be a drop in the bucket. So, man, just give us some live action, man. Give us some live action, man. Because if I got to wake up 3:00 in the morning and watch another Korean baseball league game, I'm gonna lose my everlasting mind, fellas. So, your final thoughts about the return of sports?
Just give it to us.
Yep, giving it to us. Yep. And speaking of giving it to us, hey, yo, Button, hit it.
And now, our favorite part of the show, the choices of the voices.
Once again, thank you to the wonderful and lovely Miss Button for the introduction to the favorite part of the show, the choices of the voices. 61 times I done told you that she ain't lying, she telling the truth. If she lying, she flying, and the woman is grounded as far as I'm concerned. The choice of the voices where we ask you questions and you give us answers. It's been a while, but we still make it happen. We make it do what it do, baby. Scotty D, what is the question for this week's choices of the voices?
All right, so this week we asked which team you thought was more dominant of the Chicago teams. That was the 96 Bulls. That was the first full season Jordan played after his baseball retirement, where he got together with Rodman and Pippen and Kukoc and Kerr and all those boys. Was that team more dominant, or did you think the 85 Bears, the Super Bowl shuffle, McMahon, the Fridge, Walter Payton, were they more dominant in their respective sports? And it must have been a toughie because we didn't get a whole lot of people that actually came out and used their thinking caps and wrote the response. So let's see what we did get, Eddy Kool. Let's talk it over here.
All right, so here we go. We got Martin Tracy. He said the dominant basketball team ever was the 1986 Boston Celtics. Ain't got nothing to do with this.
Yeah,
he's
out of the two answers that we got, one didn't answer it.
But he rebounded himself. He said Jordan could never get past it. Look, we've been paying 10 episodes, man. The Last Dance. We know what happened. All right, we know what happened. As far as I'm concerned, go ahead and give the damn series an Emmy. He said the most dominant football team, and then he come talking about the Dolphins. Okay, all right. So he gets down to the real answer. He said, I'm just joking. He said the 85 Bears. Yeah, when it's all said and done, the 85 Bears.
The Bears.
Yep,
The Bears.
Yep, the most dominant team. All right, and then we have the one, the only, the legendary essay writer himself, Trey Dizzle. And he says, how many zeros? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1 trillion, cajillion, billion% the Chicago Bears. They have 14 games where the opponent scored 10 points or less. Twice during the season, they had back-to-back shutouts. They shut out both opponents in the NFC playoffs and only allowed 10 points in the Super Bowl for a total of 10 points scored against 3 full postseason games. Outscored their postseason opponents 91-10, including the 46-10 thumping of the Patriots in the Super Bowl that year. The Patriots only had 7 rushing yards in the Super Bowl. The only loss came when Jim McMahon was injured to the Dolphins in Miami. At 31 years old, Walter Payton averaged 5.8 yards a carry and about 16,000 yards. The Bears got 64 turnovers, including 8 games where they forced 4 or more turnovers. Wow.
Hey, that's some good research right there. I like
that. Trey Duke.
Yeah. Sure.
Yeah, we got to give it up for Trey Duke because he usually give us some Tony Romo foolishness, but he's spot on with this one.
I am shocked and amazed, because he has given us so much Tony Romo tomfoolery that I was losing faith in him as a sports fan. But
yeah,
this is some quality work there, sir. I applaud you for this. And now with me just saying this, I know at some point in time, very soon, I'm gonna get some Tony Romo tomfoolery.
That's how we do it. Give him praise, and then he turn around, put the car right back in the ditch.
I know. I just opened the gate. Oh. I know who in the hell left the gate open.
Yeah,
Trey Duke. Trey Duke. That's who.
Trey,
man,
that answer was so good. In fact, that you swayed me to give the same answer. I mean, it's hard to not recognize that Bulls team is like the best basketball team of all time because of losing 10 times only that whole season. You know, out of the 6 teams that won the NBA championship, that Bulls team was probably the best version. And make no mistake about it, that the Warriors team of a couple years ago, I think they had one game better in the regular season. They weren't as good as that Bulls team. We actually had that as a topic last year, but that Bears team, and just listen to those numbers that he was listing for us there. That defense was absolutely sick, man. They were suffocating. And what a shame that those guys were such a bunch of loose cannons that they won a single Super Bowl, because they looked poised to be a dynasty there, didn't they? I mean, they looked like they were just going to start just collecting trophies for the last 4 or 5 years of the 80s. And they only had that one, but that one, man, what an incredible season. And they were the first team to ever carry off their head coach and defensive coordinator, Buddy Ryan, when they won the Super Bowl that year. They carried both coaches off the field.
Oh yeah, that's Be Live. What you got? The Bears or the Bulls?
The Bears.
So, I mean, this was a tough one for me. And what I did when I thought about this question is I went into my inner self, and I went to my core. And I was like, I thought about, how does Clemson apply to this question? Because at the end of the day, all roads lead to Dabo.
Yeah.
So, and I thought about it, because the first thought that comes to my mind when it comes to the Chicago Bulls is Horace Grant, that attended Clemson University. But here's the caveat to that. Horace Grant was not on that 96 Bulls team.
Nope.
So that's what swayed my decision to the 85 Bears and a certain rookie that they had on their team, William the Refrigerator Perry, that graduated from where? Clemson University.
Or Georgetown Tech. I'm sorry.
And here's the thing. I did not know he was a rookie that year. That was his first. He was the 22nd pick in the first round of the draft in '85, and became such a force on that dominating Bears defense. That's what swayed my answer. Simply put, I'm all in. I bleed orange every day, all day. I'm wearing a Clemson shirt right now. The Fridge, William Perry, 85 Bears. Bears.
That actually was the Fridge's best season too, I think, if I'm not mistaken. I think the success catapulted his weight into another stratosphere beyond his control. He was a good player, but he never lived up to kind of the hype of his first year. And a lot of that was hype too. They stuck him in the backfield, and he was a lovable character. And I know a lot of people, myself included, are still disappointed to this day that he scored a touchdown in the Super Bowl instead of giving the ball to Walter Payton. That was a mistake that Ditka still lives with. I don't know if you guys remember that, but they had a chance to score late in the game, and it really affected Walter Payton. It really hurt him that he didn't get the ball in that situation. But as for the Fridge, though, that was probably his best season of all, to be honest with you.
And here's a little tidbit that I did not know. I heard a little bit about it, but the defensive coordinator for the Bears, Buddy Ryan, called Perry a wasted draft pick. He did not like the Fridge and refused to play him. So Ditka put him in as fullback to spite Buddy Ryan.
Mm.
Wow.
So that was the reason why he was in those plays, those running plays. And so that's what I'm saying. Like I briefly, I think I've heard that before, but just reading a little bit into it, I was like, that, you know what, that makes sense. And I knew there was something going on with that relationship between Ditka and Buddy Ryan. So
yeah, there's always friction there for sure.
That's crazy, man, to have that kind of friction in your on your team, and you guys are destroying everybody. Like what, they 10 points in the freaking playoffs. Because I'm looking at it now. They beat the Giants 21-0. Rams in the NFC Championship game 24-0. And then they put that Stomp Jackson on the Patriots in Super Bowl 20, 46-10. Now, this same team produced 9 Pro Bowlers and 11 All-Pros. I mean, the Bulls, I ain't gonna lie, y'all nice, but the way the Bears are set up, they just dominated every time they hit the field, and they lost one game.
That was
the
perfect storm. That was a Monday night road game in Miami going against Marino, and it was just everything went the Dolphins' way that night. So that was it. Only mark. I really remember that year thinking this team's going to be undefeated. But
yep, it was week 13. It was week 13 when they lost against the Dolphins, and they just dominant, man. I mean, when I think about dominant defenses, I think about the Bears, I think about the Ravens, and then I also think about the Denver Broncos, who destroyed the Carolina Panthers. But we ain't gonna talk about that.
That's not necessary.
No. Also, guys, did you know that Jeff Fisher was on that 85 Bears team as well too? He was a defensive back, but he was on the injured reserve list.
I don't think I knew that.
Ron Rivera was on that team as well too.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
Riverboat Ron. I miss him. Oh, I'm sorry, my bad.
Already. we got wheeling and dealing, Matt Rule. Woo! Well, we'll see what the hell he does. Who else is on this team? You had Mike Tomczak, you had Jim McMahon.
Willie.
The line was stout. So you had Singletary and the linebacker core was like it's nuts.
Richard Dent was the MVP of the Super Bowl that year.
Richard Dent is a bad man.
And Dan and they had Willie Galt speeding down the sidelines on offense.
Yep, and then you had Steve Mongo McMichaels, the world's worst wrestler, but I would never tell him that to his face.
Eddy Kool.
He probably could kick.
You concur with us, or do you got the Bulls in that situation? Who you got?
Bears, man. Bears. I can't put up no fight, man. I ain't no in hell I can put up no. I can't do it, man. It's the Bears, man. The Bears were dominant. The Bears are stuff. It's stuff that legends are made of. They only lost one game. If they wouldn't have lost that game, they would have been, Mercury Morse and them. They ain't popping no more bottles, baby. That's over with. That's over with. Mongo and Ditka and, R.I.P. to Walter Payton, Kevin Butler, Richard Dent, Willie Galt. All them guys are popping bottles, not the Dolphins. But I'm gonna have to roll with the 85 Bears, man.
Fair enough.
No.
Yep, 85 Bears. All right, but guess what, guys? Even though we had a short version of the choices of the voices, we got a little part 2, a little bonus edition. A couple weeks ago, I asked a question as states started opening up and trying to figure out how to have fans and sporting events and venues. I think a few days before that, NASCAR came back and they opened up Darlington. UFC was, doing the best they could in Jacksonville, having fight nights in Jacksonville in location area. I mean, think about it. We even had AEW who had a pay-per-view in Florida, and they had Mike Tyson. Yeah, Mike Tyson in person. But I'm gonna have to talk to him, have him and link up with Hulk Hogan and teach them how to rip T-shirts and stuff. Because
I saw that.
Yeah, because it's a struggle fest. Mike, you can knock a man out, but you can't tear no T-shirt up. Come on, bro. The secret is to cut the top of the T-shirt. All right, cut the top of the T-shirt and sell it. That's neither here nor there. So the question that I asked on the Sports Bros podcast like page. Will you attend any live events in the near future? And we got a great turnout. Danielle Williams said probably not for the rest of 2020. Greg Fairchild said, yes, I miss going to wrestling shows. Frank Turk said, as soon as they let me in the stadium, I'm going. Andrea Petrillo, she said, absolutely. Alexandra Rose Hanscom, she said, definitely. Rob G said, absolutely. Don Clifford Shoup, he said yes. Robert Morris said, if they let me. The Money Man, Scotty D, said, And Eli, Le Champion Kavanaugh, he said, that's a no for me, boss. So we got yes and we got no. We got, I'm tired of being in the house, none of these sports in my life. And we got some people, they don't want to be nowhere near Rona Mania 2020. So be live. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, I was gonna, because I want Scotty D to explain himself, sir. Since you don't want to go to live events, please opine.
Well,
for us,
I just think at this point we are too dismissive of this coronavirus. I still think it's out there and it's not done rearing its ugly head. And you know, I said this when the first day when I did my video, that if I get this virus, I feel pretty good about my chances of shrugging it off. But, you know, I don't know that my parents could, or other people that I'm friends with that are elderly could, or people that have the, you know, compromised immune system. So I just am not comfortable yet with the idea of sitting in a packed stadium and standing in line to get food or a drink and having that virus out there. You know, I just think it's too risky at this point. If there's a vaccination, absolutely. You know, I would most likely get a vaccine. You know, I would take that. And I hope that happens, because the Cowboys are hosting the Steelers this year, and it was in the plans for my family to go down there and try to see that this year. And right now, that's in November. That's scheduled for November. Right now, I would not do it at this point. And I know that a lot of people are of the opinion that the virus is, you know, only a small percentage you get it, and everyone's surviving. And I get all that, but it is still very dangerous. And I, at this point, wouldn't want to risk passing that on to my family if I could avoid that.
Fully understandable.
Absolutely, and I respect you for that, because definitely, because it's not because your explanation is definitely the most selfless explanation there is, and that I can admire.
Well, thanks. I mean, I obviously I would love to go to live sporting. I love doing it. You know, we had that as a topic on our show here before. I would love it. I just, you know, it's going to happen again. You know, we're going to get to a point that the coronavirus is going to be behind us. And I would just prefer to wait till then, whenever I feel good about it. You know, I just don't right now. How about, I mean, do you? What do you think? How do you feel about it?
I'm one for just, hey man, it's a little too, it's early in the game for all that. You know, you have these states opening up, and each state, you know, the numbers are different, and you just have to, you know, like, okay, well, if you open these stadiums up, then how are you going to put, you know, how are you going to, you know, 6 feet, 7 feet? Now they're saying the whole 6 feet rule, you know, that's, you know, whatever, because this thing travels, you know, through speckle, spit, saliva, whatever you call it, or you can breathe it in, or it's here, it's there. I mean, it's something we never seen before. So yeah, it's airborne. You got to wear a mask, and I mean, you know, and
I hate masks.
Yeah, oh man,
I hate them.
You know what?
I hate these freaking masks. I'm sorry, go ahead.
No. I'm glad you said something about a mask, because you know what, man. If you got big ears, more problem to you. If you got tater chip ears like your boy, forget about it. No, man, just. But I understand this, the importance of the mask. Oh, by the way, if you're going into these restaurants and you're mask shaming your servers, I'm going to burn one here. Keep your fucking ass home. Stay home.
Beep. Where is that dump button?
Oh, I'm dumping this. It has to be said, man, because it's enough discrimination going on in the world. You choose to bring your stinking butt out the house, but you want to get mad at your server because, they got a mask on their face. You should be. Thank you. Appreciate that. That way they're not blowing breath and germs on you and not blowing breath and germs on them. I don't know what the hell is going on with this whole mask shaming. It's stupid. It's dumb. So yeah, I use my F word for the show, and I put the dump button on it. I apologize for the cheering out there if I'm listening. Before you're done,
I just want to say this. These freaking masks, I'm sick and tired of smelling my own breath. God, it's 98.6 degrees in my nose all the time. I'm working 10, 11, 12-hour shifts, and I just breath. Just breath.
Acting your nostrils.
Yeah.
But I do that. I don't want to wear a mask anymore.
Don't mess around and burp. Oh my God! Don't burp. Oh man!
Boy.
Get your swig of salt drink and burp. Oh man, come on, man. Like you can run from it. You can't run. But like I'm saying, I understand the importance of masks and everything, and how are we going to do if we get these people in there? Are we going to do it 25% capacity? If you do it 50% capacity, that's still chances. But I no. I'm keeping my butt in the house. I'll watch from the friendly confines of my house.
Well, y'all two can stay at the house. I'm going to the game. Here's the reason why I say that. I live by myself. So if I was to catch it, I'd just catch it. And I'd self-quarantine for 14 days, and then I'd be just fine. But no, the biggest thing with me is that they're gonna put a lot of protective measures out. They're not just. It's not gonna be a full stadium. We already know that. They're gonna enforce a lot of social distancing, and it's responsibly so, and I mean it's mandated at that. Mm-hmm. Me, I'm just man. I want live sports, period. Anyway, I'm excited because week 1 for the Panthers is that the Las Vegas Raiders are coming into town, and I get to see a lot of my former Clemson players on the Las Vegas Raiders. And let me put this point out real quick when I'm talking about Clemson. Carolina Panthers. You are the only franchise in the NFL,
the only one
that has not drafted a Clemson player, and your first year was played at Clemson University.
No,
what are you doing? Draft the Clemson player, please, just one. Yeah, literally every other team in the NFL has drafted a Clemson player. I need the Panthers to do that. And I wouldn't be too terribly upset if we had a bad season this year and we just so happened to draft Trevor Lawrence. I wouldn't be too mad. I'd be sort of upset because we would suck this year. We'd have to suck in order to. But I have to say
down here. I am completely lost at this point.
In other news, Vince McMahon said he will not buy back the XFL, but that's neither here nor there.
My bad. I think I went off on a tangent, and got to put the got to put the track back on the train.
No, we got to put the train back on the track. We already had this conversation. Check out our past episodes where we didn't know where the hell the train went.
Who is we?
Well,
who is? Don't put me and Scotty D in this. That was you.
We ride together. We die together. Bad boys for life. All right, this is what we do. This is what we do. See what happened when we all for a week, man? We all cattywampus and cluster muck, and it's just messed up. I'm over here cussing, but guess what? You've tuned in, listeners. This is why you listen to the Sports Bros podcast, because we are who we are, and we do what we do. So B-Live said he gonna go to a game. Me, I said, and Scotty said, oh, hell no, he ain't gonna do it. So it's like this. If anyone goes to if you even leave out your house, just be safe. Just be safe. Wash your hands, face, feet, and of course, your ass. All right, just make sure you do all that. Scotty D, what's the question for next week's?
Well, this is going to be unprecedented question because, I asked you to go deep on this topic this past week and didn't get much response. And this has been a non-sports era. So I'm going to ask a non-sports question for next week. This is, like I said, unprecedented. So the question is, what is the best breakfast cereal? That's it. Favorite breakfast cereal. Yeah, that's it. We're going to go off topic next week. Yeah,
hell, why not?
Sports to talk about. Let's talk about cereal next week.
Might as well.
Well, I'm gonna use my one. I'm gonna use, since Eddy Kool, you used your one earlier. I'm gonna use my one. Well, I guess with the question of the for next week. Well,
exactly.
And why not?
You might as well at this point.
Hey, you don't want to talk Bulls and Bears? I bet you talk cereal with us.
Yeah. So, ladies and gentlemen, Captain Crunch, Fruit Loops, Malto Meals. What do you like? Let us know on next week's edition of the Choices of the Voices and the Sports Bros podcast. And my computer almost fell over, but I got it. Unbelievable. Hey, let's go ahead and get this train wreck and take it home. They're giving me the go home cue. Around the pepper, we talked 3 topics, rapid fire style, kind of, sort of, not really, entertaining, fun, and get ready. So here we go. Continuing my theme of this day in history. It looked kind of thin, but I did the best I could. Bryce Harper, y'all need to get y'all mess together. All right, so here we go. On this day in 1925, Lou Gehrig begins his Iron Man streak. Lou Gehrig of the New York Yankees. He played 2,130 consecutive games. That was later broken by Cal Ripken. Baseball's Iron Man, Lou Gehrig. The streak begins. Over to you,
all right.
Eddie.
In the history of combat sports, we've often seen a fighter get old all of a sudden. And I think that is happening right now to Tyron Woodley. Tyron Woodley had an incredible streak going where he won 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 out of 7 with a draw. And his last 2 fights against Kamaru Usman back in March of last year, and then this past Saturday against Gilbert Burns, did not go well for him. He lost unanimous decisions, all 5 rounds in both those fights. He's quickly looking like he's a shell of his former self. And I hate to see it happen, but Tyron Woodley at age 38, I think we're starting to see him circle the drain a little bit, if you will. Be Live, over to you.
All right. Well, I'm going to stick with UFC myself. And while we're seeing age catch up to one person, we are seeing negotiations going south. It's sour with UFC, Dana White, and John Bones Jones.
Oh, Lord.
So, in the Twitter world, John Bones Jones says today to the light heavyweight title, Vidi Vici. And in a separate tweet, he says, Bones out when you see me in the streets. Just call me JJ. Sounds like John Jones is walking away from the UFC and the title, vacating the title. He also mentions that if they want to organize a fight between me and Adesanya in 2021, let me know. And hopefully you guys will be willing to pay by then. Wow. Bones out. Eddy Kool, the ball.
Out of all people, he need to work because he got legal matters and lawyer fees to take care of. But I'm just gonna drink my water and not pay him no attention. On this day, Scotty D, I got one for you, buddy. On this day in 1903, the Pittsburgh Pirates sweep the Dodgers in a triple header, which means they played one game and won. They played 2 games and won. Then they played a third game, and they won. I know they had to take 2 days off, but then again, it's 1903, and they tough like that. Days off? What is that?
Yeah, man. Baseball's a
Scotty D.
different animal all the way back then. Yeah. Well, guys, a topic I think I'd like us to all get into in the future would be this Lance Armstrong thing on ESPN that they've shown the last couple of weeks. We haven't all three seen both episodes of it, but it's very intriguing. Lance Armstrong to me is a very interesting character. I did see the first episode, and he was describing how he went from the clean rider into doping, and then his battle with cancer. And this is, to me, what is so conflicting about Lance Armstrong. When Lance Armstrong, after he won all those Tour de France titles and he was on top of the world and looked at as a hero, he started getting the doping accusations, and he did a lot of lying and a lot of throwing people under the bus, and he was a bad guy. But through that cancer thing, man, do you guys remember the Live Strong bands that were going around and what an inspiration he was? Can you really look at Lance Armstrong as being all that bad? Can he be all bad if he, was such an inspiration to help, kids and cancer patients through the years? I don't know. Very conflicted on Lance Armstrong, but maybe we'll get more in depth to him going forward. But he's looked at as a pariah at this point. But to me, I still kind of think he couldn't have been all that bad if he helped some of these other cancer patients by being an inspiration. B-Live, over to you.
Oh man, yeah, it's. I need to get caught up with Lance. I'm gonna start watching that tonight after we finish with the podcast. Mm-hmm. Well, and in true almighty B-Live fashion, I have an affinity for another type of racing. It's on 4 tires as opposed to 2. NASCAR. Woo! Yeah, all right.
Oh.
So Brad Keselowski does it again. He won the Coca-Cola 600 in Charlotte last week, and he turns around in Bristol and wins again. Brad Keselowski is on fire. So, hey, gotta love some live sports. NASCAR, yes, sir. He made another left turn. Eddy Kool, the ball.
Who got into a fight last week? Somebody gave somebody the finger, didn't he?
I ain't really I ain't pay that much attention. I was sort of just.
I was doing something. I was like, they're back to fighting. Here we go. Yes, NASCAR fighting. Hey, you nudge me again and see what happens. I'll knock you out. I'll flatten your tires. I'll put tungsten in your gas. They crazy. The underbelly of racing, be it cycling or NASCAR. But in this day, in 1935, at the tender age of 40 years old, George Herman Ruth, a.k.a. the Babe, says, hey, I'm done. I'm retiring. I'm out. Peace. He was one of the all-time greatest home run hitters. Then came Henry Aaron, and then came Barry Bonds. Hey, fellas, and speaking of baseball, I think they got that Sammy Sosa and Mark McGwire up 30 for 30 episode 2, and that should be interesting.
All right, so it's been we skipped a week here, so this was more topical last week, but I still wanted to touch on the fact that we got a really competitive golf match last week when Tom Brady and Phil Mickelson took on Tiger Woods and Peyton Manning. And Tom Brady kind of stole the show when he knocked one in from the middle of the fairway. Barkley was talking trash. He dunked one in from out on the fairway, split his pants. He was playing bad at the time. I thought it was really entertaining. It was a lot of fun to watch. But one takeaway that I had from it was how good Tiger Woods actually looked that day. That dude was stroking the fairway with his driver that day. And I noticed when the match got tight, torn down the stretch, he got a little bit more serious. So, it just goes to show you, if Tiger gets a little bit of time here and he's healthy, we might get another major in there this year, because if he's hitting fairways, buddy, woo, look out. Could be on. B-Live, over to you.
All right. Tiger Woods, y'all. All right, let's finish this off real quick. So, George Kittle, one of the best to play the position of tight end in the NFL, he trying to get paid, and I believe rightfully so. Just to throw a little facts to you real quick, he is in his final year of his rookie contract, and he is set to make $735,000 this year. George Kittle, one of the best tight ends in the league, $735,000. Not even $1 million.
Poor guy.
Yeah, that's like 20 times what I make, but it's okay. But but here's the caveat: he does not want to get paid top tight end money. He wants to get paid top wide receiver money. Here we
go again.
So he's like, I don't care about the tight end market. He wants wide receiver money. Interesting development. George Kittle is definitely that dude, though. He that dude. We shall see how this develops. Yes, sir.
Now, George Kittle, if I'm not mistaken, I'm looking at his numbers. 2017, he only had 515 yards, and then boom, 1,300 yards. I think he broke the record set by Travis Kelce like 3 minutes before that, or something like that. And then last year, he had 1,053 yards. But that breakout season, shout out to George Kittle, because he had like a 5-reception game for like 203 yards and killed the Denver Broncos and helped me get my work league fantasy football championship. Might I remind everyone once again, I do hold the distinction of winning a CFL fantasy football league and an NFL football league. Double champ, baby. That's what I do. And I want me another one of these belts. Be live, shut up.
I didn't even say anything.
Because you about to say, but you don't even win your own league. You know what? It's good when the commissioner don't win his own league, which means I ain't sabotaging it. All right? But with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, another episode of the SportsBros Podcast, episode 61. So great to be back. I've missed my co-host. My co-host missed me, and we miss you, the listeners. But before we go, we're going to tell you how to get in contact with us.
Well, you can find me on Facebook, but my message to you this week is from the legendary Jackie Moon. Everybody love everybody.
Yeah, everybody love everybody. And if you haven't seen that movie, you got to check it out. Be live. Where can they find
Deep
you?
breath. All right. You can find me in St. I had to do it. But now, check this out. Peep game. You can find me at Max Speed Shop all the time, because I don't know what a day off is. It's eluding me. But I'm
with the stinky mask.
But yes, I'm breathing hot breath, Hassenpfeffer and brisket. But you also can catch us. You guys have been listening to the podcast for a little bit now. Check us out on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, Instagram, all the things. Your boy, the Almighty Be Live, Brian Livingston on Facebook. My profile's public. I don't care. Stalk me. It doesn't matter. I'm going to bring the funny Be Live memes, Be Live videos, what happened, all that stuff. Yes, sir. Oh, yeah. There's some emails.
And as
SportsBrosPcast@gmail.com. PCast, podcast. Yes, sir.
All that. Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. You can find me there too. Also, you can find me on Snapchat, SuperCool5000 if you do that. Instagram, Cool Season on one word. And you can find me on Facebook, Eddy Kool. Cool ain't my last name, but you get it. And thank you once again. We are 61 episodes knee deep in some horse pucky. I'm joking. No, we love what we do. We do what we love, and we love our listeners. We love getting together. It's been kind of hectic trying to get everybody on the same page, but we're getting there. We are getting there, and there is where we are getting. All right,
everybody
fellas,
love
any final
everybody.
words before we get up out of here?
And George Kittle had the third highest tight end yards in the league, but he wants wide receiver money. Uh-oh. And I'm out.
Who else tried that? Wanted wide receiver money as a tight end.
There was somebody. I can't remember.
Jimmy Graham, maybe.
I think so, but tune in to the next week of the episode of Sports Bros Podcast to find out what tight end wanted wide receiver money. And then in closing, do something nice for yourself. And if you can, do something nice for someone else. They'll greatly appreciate it now more than ever. It's been another episode of the Sports Bros Podcast. Stay safe, love each other, be smart.
Yes, sir.